Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, students? Hope you all will be fine. Okay, today we are going to start the new chapter, chapter number 5, that is the chemical bonding. Now, what is the chemical bonding? The definition of the chemical bonding is the force which holds atom together in a molecule or a crystal is called a chemical bond. Now, what does it mean? When atoms combine together and they form a molecule, there is a force of attraction between the molecule, between the atoms of a molecule. And this force is responsible to make a bond between the two atoms. And this bond is called a chemical bond. This force which holds the atom together in a molecule is called a chemical bond. Now, next going to the question is, why do atoms form a chemical bond? And the answer of the question is, it is a universal rule that everything in this world tends to become more stable. Now listen carefully. It is a universal rule that everything in this world tends to become more stable. Now atoms, how the atom becomes stable or the molecule in an atom become more stable? Atoms achieve stability by atom electronic configuration of inert gases. Okay, now listen carefully. Atoms achieve stability by attaining electronic configuration of inert gases. Like what are the inert gases? Like helium, neon, xenon, etc. These are the inert gases. Now next is the electrons in the outermost shell of an atom is called the valence electrons. As you know, that electrons in the outermost shell of an atom is called a valence electron. Now, how atom can get stabilized or having a stability? Having 2 or 8 electrons in the valence shell is a sign of stability. Okay, having 2 or 8 electrons in the valence shell is a sign of stability. Attaining 2 electrons in the valence shell is called a duplet rule. If an atom has ability only one shell, as you know, for the first shell, one shell has only 2 electrons. If the outermost shell has 2 electrons, so it means the atom can attain the duplet rule. While attaining 8 electrons in the valence shell is called octet rule. As duplet means 2, so it attain, if they have 2 electrons in the outermost shell, so it means they attain the duplet rule. And if it attain the 8 electrons in the outermost shell, so octet means 8, it means 8 electron they attain the octet rule. Octet means 8. Only hydrogen molecule, H2 means hydrogen molecules, and helium atoms have the stable outermost shell. As you know, the helium atom is an inert gas and it has 2 electrons in the outermost shell. So helium is a stable molecule. And as you know, hydrogen has 1 electron in the outermost shell. So when 2 atoms of hydrogen combine together and they form a hydrogen molecule, it means it also attains the helium configuration, helium atomic configuration, and has 2 electrons in the outermost shell. It means hydrogen molecules and helium atoms have the stable outermost shell of the 2 electrons, that is attaining the duplet rule. I hope it is clear to you. You got it? Now, next going to the an atom can accommodate 8 electrons in its valence shell in 3 ways. Now listen carefully. I'm repeating. An atom can accommodate 8 electrons in its valence shell in 3 ways: by giving or losing valence shell electrons. Listen carefully. By giving or losing valence shell electrons. It means if they are 3 or less than 3 electrons to the other atoms. An atom can only lose electron if there are 3 or less than 3 electrons present in the outermost shell. So this atom can easily lose the electron to the other atoms. Next point is the by gaining electrons. By gaining electrons from the other atoms. It means if valence shell has 5 or more electrons in it. How electrons can be gained by the atoms? If a valence shell has 5 or more electrons in it, okay, then they will gain the electron to attain the octet rule. By sharing, next point is the by sharing valence electron with other atoms. So these are the 3 ways in which the atoms can obtain the 8 electrons in the can get the 8 electrons in the outermost shell. So it means every atom has a natural tendency to have 2 or 8 electrons in its valence shell. What are these 3 methods? By giving or losing electron. And the condition for this is if they are 3 or less than 3. If they have 3 or less than 3 electron in the outermost shell, so it can gain the lose, it will be possible for it to lose the electron. And next point is the by gaining electron. And how they can gain the electron? If valence shell has 5 or more electrons in it, so the atom will gain the electron. And next possibility is by sharing valence electron with other atoms. It means every atom has a natural tendency to have 2 or 8 electrons in its valence shell. Okay, I hope you got it and it will be clear. It is clear to you. Now going to the next topic, that is the type of the chemical bonding. Okay, types of chemical bonding. There are two types of chemical bonding, that is ionic or electrovalent bond, and next one is the covalent bond. Two types of the chemical bonding are the ionic or electrovalent bond and the covalent bond. Now, what are the ionic bond or the ionic or electrovalent bond? As I have shared in the previous lesson, that the first 2 points by giving or losing electrons in an ionic bond, in the formation of an ionic bond, atom either lose electrons or gaining electrons. So, first point and second point attain the ionic formation of the ionic bond. Now, next one is the covalent bond. The covalent bond is formed by the sharing of the valence electron with the other atoms. Okay, sharing of electrons is take place in the valence covalent bond. Okay, ionic bond and covalent bond. In ionic bond, either losing or gaining electron take place, and covalent bond sharing of electron take place. Now, going to the next topic, the ionic bond. Now, what is an ionic bond? The attraction that binds oppositely charged ions together is termed as the electrovalent bond or ionic bond. Now, listen carefully again. The attraction that binds oppositely charged ions together is termed as electrovalent bond or ionic bond. Now, how these charged ions are formed? The explanation for the formation of the charged ion is when a metal reacts with non-metal. Okay, when a metal reacts with a non-metal, as a result, an ionic bond is formed. It means ionic bond is mostly formed between the dissimilar atoms. When a metal reacts with a non-metal, as a result, an ionic bond is formed. Metals have less value of their electronegativities than non-metal. It means metals are present in the mostly metals are present in the first group and the second group are in the P or P block element. So metals are having less value of their electronegativities than non-metal. It means that metals are the electropositive elements. An electropositive element means they can lose electron easily. As you know the definition of electronegativity is that electronegativity is the tendency of an atom to attract the electron more towards itself. So metals are the have less electronegativity means that it can lose electron easily. So metal releases its electrons equal to its valency from its outermost shell, while non-metal gaining this electron in its valence shell. So according to the definition, the charge ion only possible when one atom loses its electron and the other atom gain its electron. So metal releases its electron equal to its valency, means having outermost electron from its outermost shell, while non-metals gains this electron in its valence shell. As a result, positive and negative ions are formed respectively. When metal loses electron, it means there is a less number of the proton become greater and the electron become less in that atom. So it gain the univalent part. If it loses one electron, it means a univalent positive ion. Positive charge is produced on it, and the atom which gain electron, a negative charge is produced on it, and this means charge ions are formed. These oppositely charged ions, then held together by an electrostatic force of attraction, is called electrovalent or ionic bond. As you know that opposite charges have force of attraction between them, and this force of attraction is responsible for the electrostatic force of attraction, which is responsible to form a bond, and this bond is from the ionic bond. Okay? I hope it is clear to you. Now, next, going to the next topic, that is the Example number 1, formation of sodium chloride. Formation of sodium chloride is the good example for the ionic compounds or the formation of ionic bond. As you know, sodium has one electron in its outermost shell. As you know, sodium is present in the first shell, first group, and it has one electron in the outermost shell. So then sodium shell loses this one electron, and then sodium ion is formed, while chlorine atom has 7 electrons in its valence shell, so it picks the electron, then chloride ion is formed. In this way, both ions acquire 8 electron in their outermost shell. Now you can see that the sodium has the atomic number 11. As you know, sodium is the atomic number 11, and it has 2 electron in the K shell, 8 electron in the L shell, and 1 electron in the outermost shell, that is the M shell. By losing this 1 electron, so now sodium has 2 electron in the K shell and 8 electron in the L shell, having losing this 1 electron. Now in case of chlorine, as you know, chlorine is present in the 7 group, and it has 7 electron in the outermost shell. So chlorine has atomic number 17. In K shell, chlorine has 2 electrons, and L shell chlorine has 8 electron, and in L shell, so chlorine has 7 electron, as it is present in the 7 group. By gaining this electron, 1 electron, so the electronic configuration of the chlorine now become K shell has 2 electrons, 8 shell now has 8 electrons, and N shell has now 8 electrons. Now in both the cases, sodium also now completes the outermost shell and stabilize, and chlorine also try to stabilize, having 8 electron in the outermost shell. Now by gaining and losing electron, sodium become a positive ion. Okay, by gaining and losing, sodium loses 1 electron, so it become a positive ion, and chlorine get the 1 electron, so it become the negative ion. So these opposite charges, positive and negative charges, have a force of attraction between them, and this force of attraction is responsible to create electrostatic force of attraction between these two atoms and form a bond, which is form a ionic bond, and sodium chloride is formed. Okay. I hope it is the you got it. And next is the for more clarification of the concept, let us see the atomic structure of these two atoms. As you can see through the structure, the atoms of the sodium atoms, same explanation we have. Sodium atom has 2 electrons in the first shell. Okay, these are the 2 electrons in the first shell, and it has 8 electrons in the second shell. 8 electrons in the second shell, and it has 1 electron in the outermost shell. Similarly, chlorine, now it is present in the first group and has 1 electron in the outermost shell. Similarly, chlorine is a member of the group 7 elements. So it means chlorine has atomic number 17. In the first shell, chlorine has 2 electrons, and the second shell, chlorine has 8 electrons. And now in the third shell, chlorine has 7 electrons. Now to complete its octet, chlorine will take this 1 electron from the sodium and will complete the outermost shell. So a positive or negative charges is created. A positive and negative charges created on the sodium, and negative charges form on the chlorine. And these two charges are responsible to attract these two atoms together. So a bonding force is formed between these two atoms, which is responsible for electrostatic force of attraction is created between these two atoms, and they form a bond which is called the ionic bond. So it is the electronic structure of an atom to clear the concept of the formation of sodium chloride by gaining or losing of electrons. Now next going to the, okay students, now next example of the same topic, that is ionic bond, is the formation of magnesium oxide. As you know, magnesium has 2 electrons in its valence shell. Because magnesium is present in the second group, it means magnesium has 2 electrons in the valence shell. So it loses 2 electrons. Then magnesium positive ions, magnesium divalent positive ions is produced on magnesium, while oxygen has 6 electrons in its valence shell. 6 electrons means that oxygen is present in group 6 and having 6 electrons in the valence shell. So it picks the electrons, that is, then when the oxygen picks these two electrons, or again these two electrons, they form a divalent negative ion, which we call the oxide ion is formed. In this way, both ions require 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So now for the stability, to acquire the stability, they tend to attain the octet rule of. Now you can see the equation. Do the equation to clear the concept, more clear the concept. You can see the equation. Magnesium has atomic number 12, okay, and it is present in the group 2. First shell has 2 electrons. Second shell, that is L shell, have 8 electrons, and similarly M shell has 2 electrons. As it is present in the second shell, so it is second group, it means it has 2 electrons, and by losing these 2 electrons, so magnesium get the electronic configuration now. First shell has 2 electrons and 8 shell now has 8 electrons, and a positive charge is present on the magnesium, which is called the divalent positive ion, and we call it a magnesium ion. Similarly, oxygen has 8 electrons in their valence shell. The sodium atom, sorry, oxygen has atomic number 8, and K shell have 2 electrons, and L shell has 6 electrons. So the atomic number of chlorine oxygen is 6. And by gaining these 2 electrons, as you know, oxygen is present in the 6th group, so it has 6 electrons in the outermost shell, and it has the tendency to have 2 electrons in the oxygen has 2 electrons. Oxygen has a tendency to attain to get these 2 electrons, and by gaining these 2 electrons, now the electronic configuration of oxygen is in K shell it has 2 electrons, and in 8 shell, L shell, the last shell has now 8 electrons. So by gaining these 2 electrons, oxygen now become the divalent negative ion, oxygen, which is called the oxide ion. Now by by losing electron magnesium loses 2 electrons, so magnesium ion is formed, and oxygen gain these 2 electrons, magnesium oxide ion is formed, and because of these opposite charges, an electrostatic force of attraction is created between these two bonded atoms, which is responsible to make a bond, and this bond is formed the ionic bond, which is called the ionic bond. In this way, magnesium oxide salt is formed. Okay, these all are about the formation of ionic bonds. I hope you got it and the concept will be clear to you. Now, for more clarification of the concept, let us see the example of the atomic structure of these two atoms. As you know, as you can see, magnesium has atomic number 12, and the first shell has 2 electrons, second shell has 8 electrons, and last shell has 2 electrons. Okay? Similarly, oxygen has atomic number 8, first shell has 2 electrons, and second shell has 6 electrons. So magnesium loses these 2 electrons, and oxygen gain these 2 electrons by formation of positive and negative ions. Magnesium got a divalent positive ion, and oxygen has the divalent negative ions. So by the opposite charges, because of these two opposite charges, an electrostatic force of attraction is created between these two bonded atoms, and a bond is formed, which is responsible for the which is responsible to make a bond, and this bond is called the ionic bond. Hope it is clear to you. And now next to the characteristics of the ionic compounds. Now, ionic compounds as a result of the formation of ionic bond. The compound which are formed are the ionic compounds. So ionic compounds are made up of oppositely charged ions with the strongest bonding force. That is why they are crystalline solid. As the bond which is formed between the two bonded atoms are the more stronger. Therefore, these ions, these compounds are mostly in the solid form. They have high melting and boiling point, and they say the reason same because of the same reason they have high melting and boiling point. They are soluble and polar. They are soluble in water, that is polar solvent, but insoluble in non-polar solvent. Now, what is meant by the polar solvent? As you know, water is a polar solvent because water also has the poles. Poles means have the opposite charges. That is the positive hydrogen ion and negative OH ion. So, water is a polar solvent. The ionic compounds are mostly formed by due to the ions. Ions are the positive or negative charges are created between the atoms. So these are the ionic compounds are the polar compounds. So they are soluble in polar solvent but insoluble in non-polar solvent. Now next is they are non-volatile. Now what is mean by the volatile? A substance that evaporates readily at normal temperature. Okay, I'm the definition of volatile. I'm telling about the definition of volatile. Okay, the substance, a substance that evaporates readily at normal temperature. Normal temperature means at room temperature. When the substance change into the vapor at normal temperature, we say that's a volatile. But in case of the ionic compound, they are non-volatile, means they cannot change at vapors at normal temperature. Their electrolyte in the fused state. Their electrolyte in the fused state means electrolyte. What is mean by the electrolyte? The electrolyte, the compound which conduct electricity in the molten condition are through its aqueous solution. The compound which can conduct electricity in the fused form. Fused means molten form. Now what is mean by the molten? Molten means the melted form of the compound. When we melt it, so we can call it the fused form or the molten. And in aqueous solution means when we dissolve the compound and a compound in water, so we call it a aqueous solution. So they are electrolyte in the fused or the molten form and in an aqueous solution due to the free movement of the ions, but they are bad conductor in the solid state as the ions are not free to move. Because of the free movement in the fused form or in the melted form of the compound and aqueous solution. In aqueous solution, the ions are also free and they can move freely. So they are we call it a electrolyte because they can conduct electricity in the molten form and aqueous solution. So a substance which can conduct electricity in the fused form or in the molten form or in the aqueous solution is called the electrolyte. Due to and why we call it the electrolyte due to the free movement of the ions. Okay, but they are bad conductor in the solid state. Okay? They are bad conductor in the solid state as the ions are not free to move. So the conduction or the electrolyte require the free movement of the ions. If the ions can move freely, so it means they are the electrolyte. So in the fused form or in the aqueous solution, they are electrolyte, but in the solid form, the ions are not free to move, so they are bad conductor. Okay, these are all about the characteristics of ionic compound and hope it is clear to you. Now next going to the covalent bond. Definition of the covalent bond. The chemical bond which formed by the mutual sharing of electron is called the covalent bond. Okay? The chemical covalent bond is formed by the mutual sharing of electron. So explanation of this sentence is that a covalent bond is formed by the mutual sharing. A covalent bond is formed by the mutual sharing of electrons between non-metals. Okay, they can be it means that covalent bond can be formed between the same atom as well as to the different atoms. The non-metal electrons between the non-metals, it is generally represented by a short straight line. So a bond which is formed between the atoms by the sharing of electron is represented by a short straight line between the two bonded atoms. Each electron pair is attracted by the nuclei of the bonded atom. As a covalent bond is formed by the sharing of electron, and these electrons is bonded between the two atoms equally shared by the two atoms, and this bond is represented by a short straight line. Now next is example of the covalent bond. The halogen chlorine atom possesses an electronic configuration in which there are 7 electrons in their outermost shell and lacking only 1 electron in order to attain the structure of an inert gas. Now it means the halogen. Halogen, as you know, we take the example of chlorine. As you know, halogen is the 7th group of the periodic table. And we are taking the example of chlorine. Chlorine atom possess an electronic configuration in which there are 7 electrons in their outermost shell. As you know, that chlorine has 7 electrons in their outermost shell. Chlorine has 7 electrons in its outermost shell. As you know, it is a group 7 member and lacking only 1 electron in order to attain the structure of an inert gas. As you know, to complete its octet, chlorine required 1 electron. This structure may be attained by the halogen molecule, chlorine molecule. So how a chlorine gets stabilized when it combines with the other atom of the chlorine. So both the atoms share 1 electron and form by sharing of electron a covalent bond is formed, which is called a chlorine molecule is formed by the formation of a bond which is called the covalent bond. You can see the structure of the chlorine atom. The one chlorine atom also has 7 electron in the outermost shell, and second chlorine also has the 7 electron in the outermost shell. So by sharing 1 unpaired electron between these two bonded atoms, a bond is formed by the sharing of the electron, which is represented by a short line between two bonded atoms, and this short line is called the covalent bond. This is called the covalent bond, formation of the covalent bond. Now, next going to the types of the covalent bond. There are three types of covalent bond: single covalent bond, double covalent bond, and triple covalent bond. And these are again the same repetition of the topic. In a single covalent bond, only one pair of electrons is shared by the bonded atom, in which each atom has to share 1 electron. When only 1 electron is shared between the bonded atoms, so a single bond is formed, which is represented by a single short line. For example, in the formation of hydrogen molecule and hydrogen chloride, you can see that through the diagram that the hydrogen molecule and hydrogen chloride molecule, only one pair of electron is shared, so a single covalent bond is formed between these two bonded atoms. Now next is the double covalent bond. In double covalent bond, only two pairs of electrons are shared by the bonded atoms, and each atom has to share two unpaired electrons. As you can see the example of oxygen, oxygen share two electrons. As you know, oxygen has 6 electrons in outermost shell and 2 electrons is bonded between these two atoms and form a double covalent bond. Similarly, we take the example of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide has carbon has 4 electrons in the outermost shell, and with both the oxygen atoms, they bonded 2 electrons with one oxygen and 2 electrons with the other oxygen and form a double covalent bond. So it means when 2 electrons are shared between the two bonded atoms, it means a double bond is formed between the two bonded atoms. Okay, so it is called the double covalent bond. Next, going the triple covalent bond. Similarly, if the atoms share 3 electrons between the two bonded atoms, so a triple covalent bond is formed. As you can tell, we can take the example of the nitrogen as shown in the molecule of nitrogen and ethane. Ethane nitrogen, as you know, nitrogen is present in the group 5 element, and it has 5 electrons in the outermost shell. So nitrogen bonded 3 atoms with each other and form a triple covalent bond. Similarly, we take the example of ethane. Ethane molecular formula of ethane C2H2 oxycarbon bond share 3 electrons with each other and form a triple bond between carbon-carbon and single bond between the carbon and hydrogen bond. So a triple covalent bond is formed between the atoms when they share 3 electrons with each other. Now next is the characteristics of the covalent compound. Covalent compounds are made up of discrete unit molecules with a weak intermolecular forces. Intermolecular forces means forces between the molecules. Okay? Not between the atom but between the molecule to molecule. There are also force of attraction present between the molecule, which is called the intermolecular forces, and these intermolecular forces have different types, and these are the very weak forces. So it means these intermolecular forces are also called the van der Waals forces, after the name of the scientist van der Waals. So they have low melting and boiling point due to the weak van der Waals forces between the molecule. As I have discussed, the van der Waals forces are also the intermolecular forces are also called the van der Waals forces. So after the name of the scientist, the van der Waals. They are insoluble in water. And that is as they are the non-polar molecules, so they are insoluble in water. That is the polar solvent, but soluble in non-polar solvent. And what are the polar non-polar solvent? Like petrol, spirit, benzene, ether, carbon tetrachloride. These are the non-polar covalent compounds, non-polar solvent. They are volatile. As I mentioned, volatile are the substances which can evaporate into gaseous form at the normal temperature or at the room temperature. So they are volatile. They can easily change into the vapor at room temperature. They are a non-electrolyte, means they cannot conduct electricity in the molten form or in the aqueous solution. They are wet conductor or insulator because they do not conduct electricity. Okay. These are all about the characteristics of the covalent compound, and hope it is clear to you and you got it. Now, home task. Next, home task is the what is chemical bond, and write names of types of bond. That is the chemical bond. You can see the help from slide number 1 and 4. Define ionic bond and explain formation of sodium chloride. Now this is the, you can take the help from slide number 5 and set to 7. Explain formation of magnesium oxide from magnesium and oxygen. Slide number 8 to 9. Write 4 characteristics of ionic compounds. Slide number 10. What is covalent bond? Explain types of covalent bond with one example each. Write down 4 characteristics of covalent compound. I have an announcement for you for the assessment. Prepare yourself for online assessment or test which will be taken in September. This assessment is based on 50 MCQs including the following chapters from the taught syllabus of June, July and August. That is the chapter number 1, Introduction to Chemistry, chapter number 2, Chemical Bonding, chapter number 3, Atomic Structure, chapter number 4, Periodicity of Elements, chapter number 5, Chemical Bonding. Only taught topics will be included. Now chapter number 6, States of the Matter. Thank you and have a nice day.